Hello, welcome to more live Haskell learning. Last week I started to move some of the megaparsec stuff over from a previous project into the Servant project, so we can start to send post requests where we specify a start time for booking a particular test environment, and we can specify a duration in some kind of English-like way. And yeah, I was really just moving it over, and then I got into an argument with various things like Cabal. My Haskell setup was not working properly, but I kind of got it working towards the end. Since then, I think I fixed my Haskell setup. I might run through that very quickly because just in case anyone hits the same problems, I guess. But then the plan for today is to go back, integrate the megaparsec parsing of durations into the aeson stuff. Look at how we deal with reporting errors back by the API if you pass in something that can't be parsed. I'm going to just beef it up a bit and add a few more different ways of parsing durations. Okay, cool. So let's get started with that. So I was going to talk about how I fixed my environment. I did a bunch of things. I'm not quite sure which ones were important and which ones were just unnecessary in the end. But one of the things I did is in the stack YAML. First thing I did is I updated the resolver. So we were in an old LTS, which was using Haskell 8.10.4, 8.10.6 or something like that. But the HLS I'd installed by GHC app, and that was the one that was being picked up by the IDE here. That was compiled against 8.10.7, so we had different versions going on. So updating resolver was probably a big part of the fix for that. The other thing I did, I think it's in here, is I told it to use the system GHC. So prior to that, Stack was going and grabbing GHC for me and compiling it when needed. I told it not to do that anymore. I'll just stick to the system GHC, because then when I upgrade that, it will also upgrade the language server, and I won't get out of sync anymore. Hopefully. So that was the first bit. I did a lot of sort of stack purge, stack cleaning, and so on, and rebuilding packages because I still had a problem, but it turned out not to be related to the versioning anymore. I think I made a mistake in the Cabal file. So when I moved some of the megaparsec stuff out of a previous project into here, I wanted to have some tests. So I added the test suite stuff, which is fine. But that meant that I then took some of the source code and moved it out of the executable. So I only had an executable section previously. And I put it in a library section. And I gave the library section a name. I called it something like bookylib. And the executable is called bookie or something like that. I think that is bad. I found I could run the language server from the command line with some debug flags and see its output, and it was a bit confusing, but it seemed to be saying that it couldn't load the library called bookylib, or didn't know what I was talking about. When I changed it back to not specify a name, just go back to the library, so by default we called bookie, which is the project name. That seemed to fix it. So I'm in a situation now, oops, no, I'm going to go back to there. Situation now where it seems to be working. These hints are coming up from the language server. There's nothing underlined in red. So I think we're good. Cool. Okay, so actually let's not do that like that. Let me add a task, I think. Let's run a task called test is configured. Cool. So this should, don't know why it's recompiling stuff actually. Thought we should be fine, but anyway, it is. This should hopefully run the tests for me from here. It's recompiling everything because I touched Cabal file again. Okay, cool. But my test passes, right? So we can say parse duration when giving it something like 6 minutes works. I can add some more tests because I think the parser I copied across is a little bit better than that. Well, it's got different units, so like it parses 2 hours. That's 8 hours. And there we go. So we can say parse duration of 2 hours, and it should parse, and then we're going to turn this into seconds. So that's 7200, I think. Oops. So let's run task test. Probably bind that to a key. Anyway. I expect this should work. Yeah. So it'll do hours. Does it do days? So it I'm going to do some calculating here. It parses, let's book it for 1 day. Don't know if the singular versions work. I think I copied that across, but we'll find out. So parse duration of 1 day should parse, so it's twice A6 400, isn't it? Hi, the multiplication mark. I can cheat. The computer can calculate for me. Time 2. Okay, let's see if that still passes. Run the test. It does not. Oh, 1 day, sorry. It's not 2 days. It's just A6 400. Okay. Stop pasting that. Cool. Okay, so that's the parser that I've copied across so far. So what I'm curious about is how we fold this into the parsing from the aeson library, and I guess particularly about some error handling. This is just parse duration, isn't it? So we can say something like, we'll give it some nonsense and make sure it doesn't parse out. We should get an error coming back. So it, oops. I'm going to say it returns an error when parsing garbage. So that, and we can say here parse duration of, like whatever, and then we should get an error. I can't remember how we specify the error. To do that, we worked out when doing stuff in the parser. So this is in tiny. I guess test. And it should be something like, I should have put garbage. Yeah, literally garbage. That's a good idea. I did some tests about, I thought I had some tests about errors. And yeah, it should fail on, that was it. So parse duration should fail on this thing. Drop back here. So luckily we can do this. We can say, oops, fail on, and then literally garbage. There we go. So I'm just going to run that and make sure that does work. Okay, so that's good enough to get started with. So linking this into aeson. Is it in here at the minute? So we're saying from duration goes from string to seconds, but actually, I wonder if we just go to maybe second. It's not happy with that. Okay. Let's do the happy case first. What I'd like to do is somehow propagate this error back to aeson. So let's look at this. So from duration of some kind of input is, so we have parse duration, but it's going to return success or failure, left or right. So case parse duration input of, and then we can say left, and then some kind of error. I can't remember how the errors are structured. It's not actually like that, is it? It's going to be left is going to be one of these. So parse error bundle string void. Let's grab that because I'll forget. And then the alternative is seconds. So that's the easy case. So we'll just destructure that. So it's the constructor is parse error bundle. This is the error message, and void we don't actually care about. I need to work out what to do with this. Grab it in a second, and right has got some kind of number of seconds. And there we just return S. Okay, can it find this anywhere for me? Yeah. And parse duration is not in scope, but it should know where to get that. Okay. Use of undefined. Undefined function remains in code. Well, yes. It's kind of the point at the minute. So I'm just going to try this out with a valid thing, and I'm going to see if it works, and then I'll throw in valid thing at it. The whole thing should crash at that point, and then I'll work out how to feed that error back into the aeson parsing. I'll try to work it out anyway. Okay, so let's go back here. We can just do stack run. So we compile it, then it's just say running, I think. Okay, it's running. Let's grab another window. If I find the last call command, so it should be an environment there. And find some more curls. So this is going to create a booking, duration of 2 hours, so it should come back with 70-100. Okay, seconds 70-100, which is good. And then if I get the environment again, you can see it's available because I actually booked it last week, which is cool. Okay, so that parsing is working, so that's good stuff. So now I need to work out how to return the error into aeson, which is going to be interesting. I might include this up actually. I'm not going to guess, I don't think, and I don't think it's going to be revealed in the type anywhere. So let's look at package aeson. To jump in there, there should be some docs in here. Okay, so I jump into the parser, I guess. Encoding, decoding. I don't really think it's in the parser, actually. I think it might be in encoding. Aeson parser. So there should be a way of writing your own decoder. Okay. Let's get them changed it for you. That's not really what I want. Just deriving it. This is not really what I want. Let me go back and just search package aeson. I'm not going to search for aeson, we're going to search for from JSON, I think. So I've got some docs on how I can write my own thing. Failing if the types do not match. But how do I make the types not match? Ooh. Okay. Technically convert from JSON with possibility of failure, that's what we want. Fail. Yields a custom error message. It's a recommended way of reporting an error. Okay, so we can do that. Yeah, I think fail will work because we should have some kind of meaningful error coming back. Okay, so just jump back to here. Right. So I kind of want to run this, and we're going to get a second back. And then we want to fail if that's, well, we can change it to maybe. In fact, it's going to be either an error message or a second. So it's going to be a string, because that's what we have. And then what I really want to say here is going to be something like case that of, and then we can say left error is going to be fail error, and oops, right s is going to be just s. Might need to bracket this. Oh no, it's not. It's not going to help. Okay, so So it's not super helpful. This whole thing, like calling from duration and then possibly failing on it, that whole thing needs to be applied to or f mapped over it pulling duration out of this object. So it's kind of, I mean, it's be horrific, but it's I'm just going to quickly create a lambda. What's the type it's actually going to give me back? It's an internal parser. And this is also internal parser second. So we should be able to say parser second, I think. So maybe here, actually, we can try just saying parser second, hope it picks up the aeson parser. Yeah, go for it. So if I just get rid of those seconds, no. Put it back to where it was. Let's get rid of the of. Okay. So we're not in a good place. We had that. Okay. So it couldn't match type parser second with int. Can we take here the parser in there and return the second? But then I don't know how to get the value out of there. Right, I can't. I mean, I could try just mapping it. But it doesn't seem right either. I just moved the problem to here. That's not really what I want to do. That's not a good image because like the whole point is I want to return the parser second, not that I want to take the parser second. I want to be able to call fail, basically. I cannot do at this point. The other thing then maybe that I could do is look and see this has a monadic interface. So implementation, can I say this? So rather than treating it as an applicative, I can just pull the bits out. I could say something like be from oops. Okay, I need to remap all my symbols. So start colon and then booking from. No, I cannot say that. I cannot say that. Biggest type of A0 is when use of that prevents this. Oh, because I haven't used befrom. Okay. I think that's what it's saying. I can work out how to interpret it. And then we're missing something here. So we could say bfrom is that, and then duration. We'll just grab from the dot duration. And then we will call, just to try and get this working for a second, we can call from duration of duration to something like that. Which is okay, but we're not quite right. So what's wrong here? Couldn't match type, expected type partial booking with actual type booking. Right, so we should be able to say pure that. Yeah, so I'm kind of edging towards where I want to be. Okay, so the reason I'm breaking this down is because we can then say case duration of, and then we can get this return either a string, oops, or a second. So it would just be right s, and this would be something like left error. Ooh, almost. Okay, we'll see what that type is in a second. So you can say, here we can say left error, and then the whole point of this is I'm hoping I can then say fail error. And then we need to assign this to something and do something with it. Right, S. Oh, then, okay, so right S would be S, but it wouldn't, these are different types, so I can't assign them to a thing. So I couldn't say something like that. Although I don't know why that's a parse input. That's confused me a little bit. I expected a type error because these are different types, but it's not the case. It's tricky. I'm going to go back and read the web. On this page, can I look for fail? Means we got either decode. Not really. Can I see an example of it? Example type instance use blah blah blah. So parse JSON invalid is prepend failure. Instead of running one from JSON. Yeah, that's. So I'm more interested in the manual decoding of it. But this is just returning a failure. It's not matching something and then returning it. Okay, not super useful. Well, let's see what with object, with curiosity. This conquest, I'll only be concerned with a single type of JSON value. Object with scientific. What does this mean? Object name f value applies f to the object when the value is an object and fails otherwise. With object blah, this is the name, okay. F goes from object to a parser, and then the value here no, I mean it's not really what I want. Okay, that wasn't helpful. So I might put this back to where it was for a second. So what are we doing? We're doing that. And then it's v dot colon. Whoops. Breaking from. And then this thing from duration. Okay. So we get v dot duration. Sorry, v. I'm not making words anymore. If we try and get the value of duration out of the JSON object, it gives us back something of type. Show me what the types are. No, oh, sorry. Let me get rid of some more type errors first of all to make it a bit more helpful. Okay, so the type error from this part. So from duration. Okay, it's showing the wrong type. So let me just put this back to be this. Okay, so we're taking a string and returning a second, and that is okay. But if I just change it to apply it to there, it should get a new type error, hopefully. Don't want the warning, I want the actual error. Okay, couldn't match type int. What is the type int with parser second? Expected type parser second, actual type second. Okay. So this will now return parser second. But now we've got a problem. We've got many problems. Where's my actual type error? There is no type error coming there. I mean, I want to see the error. Here we go. Okay. Expected type string, it was parser, blah. So how do parsers work? How does this work, I guess? Object and text to parser A. So we actually want to go object to parser second. Is this going to work? And now we don't apply it to this at all. We have that. Just go and grab object. Did we do that? We did not, obviously. I did. I don't know why this has gotten stuck. Wonder how many errors I've introduced. That's part of the problem. So we have this input now, which is actually not an input, it's an object. Okay. So then we call this on the object. It's going to give me back something of type parser of A. It won't know what it is yet. So we could say something like, do we get, I guess it could not find it, that's the first thing. So there is a possibility of failing to parse it. And if that's the case, then we should just fail at that point. What's the type of parser? It's not going to show me there. But we could say something like, let input equal that object in here. Okay. So what was the type of this again? The type of this was object to text to parser. I don't know why it won't let me go from object. Personally, add it to data aeson, but I have done that. I thought. Oops. Let me just restart LSP, see if it recovers. It does not recover. That's really weird. Oh, it's done value object. Why has it done that? Maybe it already had that actually. Yeah, okay. Oh, I've got clashing objects thing. Oh, that's annoying. And the language service is dead now for some reason. It was going so well. Okay, old-fashioned way. Let's just try and build it. It's running here, so let's stop that. And it should give me the errors. So we are missing data constructor object. And here we're missing data constructor object. So I do want to add it to the import from data aeson. Oh. It's exported by data aeson. Page aeson. Data aeson. Oh, I should probably look at this actually. That's calling decode. It's actually from JSON I'm trying to write. Maybe I want to be writing decode actually. No, that's using the from the parse JSON instance to call decode. Okay. Go back up here. Right. Parsing. Parsing JSON value. You want to have parser. It's a type parser byte string. Oh, because you can add a parsec under the hood. Okay. And it's not, sorry, oh, here it's all the stuff exporting. Okay. Is it exporting object? Okay, a minute. Object, there we go, constructors object. A JSON object. Okay. So I don't know why. Oh, this isn't working. Right. First of all, let me see if I've got something open here. Let me just close that. Anything else open from there? I'm just trying to close stuff from other projects in case that's upsetting language server. So that's what I did last time. Restart the language server. Get rid of that. These are not the errors I was expecting. Okay. So let's get rid of from duration. Oh, the brackets run that, sorry. Let's add value object. One of those give me the options multiple times. Do that. There are definition of object changes, but actually we're looking a lot better. These are better errors, I think. Okay, V is not in scope. That's correct. So is it actually object, and we want to grab duration from it. Okay, slightly better. What's this saying? I couldn't actually expect to type object, sorry, parser second with actual type object to parser second. That's true. So what have we got here? So it's parser. From duration B. Okay. So now I couldn't much type what have we got here. Parser A0 with char. That makes sense, right? Because calling this returns same type parser A. And here we got parser A. We're trying to match it with list of characters. So I don't think we can just do this. It worked to be amazing though. Oh no, where did that come from? There. Okay, came out with a parser, no. Can we do this? We cannot. Okay. So how do we get stuff out of the parser? Again, I'm going to do this monadically. So we'll say input comes from there. And then we can say, okay, parse duration of that. Okay, getting slightly closer, I think. I'm just going to compile and run this and see if it still works for the success case. So we grab the duration of the object, we parse it. We're going to worry about this because we can't just say fail error because our types don't match up. But let me just quickly fix that. Can we quickly fix it? So we've got text from parse error string void. I thought I was matching these things. I'm just going to get the compiler to tell me what's going on here a little bit more. So what's this type? This is parse error bundle. Okay. And what constructors does parse error bundle have? It's going to find out. Is it parse error or parser error? Parse error bundle. Okay. A non-empty collection of parse errors Constructors. Where's a bundle? What's non-empty? Non-empty list, okay. So I'm wondering how you get the first one out. Because I kind of call bundle errors on that, and we'll get back a non-empty list of parse error s and then void in this case. But that'll be awkward to work with. Let's try that. Okay. So we could say bundle errors of error so this should now give us back non-empty, but it's non-empty whatever. So how do we deal with, how do we work a non-empty list? We can map, we don't even want to map, we just want to get an element out of it. We get the head of it, I guess. Okay, and now hopefully can match type parse error string with parser. It's actually parser string void. Okay. So here, we just want to get go back here, sorry. The parse error, what can we get out of this? Show. It doesn't really sound like the best way of getting it out, but I want to get the S out as a thing. I don't know. I don't know how to get the S. It's really annoying. There's some notation of show here. I guess show would do it. So show applied to that, and now we should hopefully have a string. It's not really telling us that. I was hoping to say you have a string and you want you want parse second, but it doesn't seem to be working like that. However, that was enough for it to work out what the type should be, apparently. Okay, so I don't think it's going to work. but let's find out. I mean, there are no typos left, so obviously it's going to be fine. Okay, so success case, right? We'll just get back, there's nothing there. We'll create a booking. Actually do it from today, so we're 02. What day is it? 03. So it still does the happy case, that's good, and it's currently booked. So let's try setting the duration to garbage. Not super great. Still running, but the error message I'm getting back is bad request, which is good. Oh, okay, that is actually the error. It's not super helpful, but that is the error from megaparsec. Okay. So we don't really want to say this is what we matched so far and this is an unexpected token. What we really want to say is something we could just, maybe we don't need to get this information out. We could just say something generic like could not parse duration plus, yep, and then we'll have a look at the input. And then I close that. I just need to apply filter all of those. Okay, let's try that instead. Might get a more helpful error message out. Okay. So again, if we get it back, it should be empty. We'll try and create garbage. There we go. Could not parse duration garbage. Error in dollar. Actually, error in dollar colon, but it's good enough, right? Cool. Okay, so we managed. There's a lot of type fun this evening. So now we can grab the duration field out. Oh, I need to test it with an empty duration as well, or a missing duration. But we grab the duration field out of the payload that we're passing in. We pass it into our megaparsec parser. That will parse it and then return either a successfully parsed thing in seconds or an error if it can't parse it, and then we have some generic error message that we display. And that's cool. So this is presumably doing a fail at this point, and then the second thing won't run because you won't run it on fail parser. And it's the same kind of meaningless error message. Excellent. Okay, cool. So that's kind of cool. We've now folded the parser into the booking thing. So I'm going to call it a day at this point. Quit on something successful. Next week, I guess, come back and I'll have a look at the database side of things, because at the minute we're just storing stuff in memory. And I'm going to see if I can connect to Postgres instead and store some data in there. But yeah, cool. So thanks for watching along. It was interesting, but the compiler was super helpful today. Yeah, and then next week, hopefully we'll do something a little bit different and more interesting. All right, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you next week. Goodbye.